Vietnam is the third best place in Asia for foreigners who want to improve the quality of their life. According to a survey in 2014 by HSBC, Vietnam now has more than 80,000 foreigners, and Ho Chi Minh City is home to half of that number. A new day has just started here in Ho Chi Minh City, and in this episode of Expat Living, let's spend one whole day from morning to evening with a foreigner who have been living here for more than 10 years to see what the city has to offer. Dr. Claudio Duek was born in Argentina and has practiced medicine in Vietnam since 2002. Claudio, his wife, have been living in Vietnam ever since. There are two children who were born here, and their attachment with this city has continuously grown. Ho Chi Minh City is well known for its coffee culture. The strong flavor of Vietnamese coffee continues to enchant many foreigners. Starting the morning with a cup of coffee is a habit for many expats living in the country's southern hub. Dr. Claudio Duek is now fueling up for a busy working day ahead with his favorite coffee. This coffee shop is just next to the clinic where he works.
Sometimes when I have a little more time, we go to another coffee shops because, as I told you, the coffee in Vietnam is a very good, it's strong, so they bring us a lot of energy to face the day.
A cup of coffee and a little chit-chat with the best workmate sometimes are all that Claudio asks for to ease the tension of a doctor's work.
I met Claudio about 12 years ago when he first moved here. Through our family mutual friends, and we've been good friends ever since. He's been a wonderful friend to have in Vietnam. He's sort of showed me the ropes when I started to live here myself.
Dr. Claudio Duek is an orthopedist specializing in trauma, upper limb, and hand surgery. He is now the operational medical director in charge of inpatient and outpatient medical activities, including 2 family medical practice clinics in Ho Chi Minh City. He was an orthopedic surgeon specialist in his hometown of Buenos Aires, Argentina, in the 1990s, with experiences working in many countries including Spain, France, and some places in Africa. Claudio had an offer to work at Ho Chi Minh City-based Franco-Vietnamese or FV hospital as a head of its hand surgery department. That was the original reason for his stay in this country in 2002.
And then I was head of department for 3 years. After 3 years, I moved to town, to the Saigon, and started working in family practice, in theory for 1 year, but then I fell in love of Ho Chi Minh City and its people as well, and now it's almost 10 years working in family practice.
After chairing a daily meeting with a dozen of doctors at the clinic at the beginning of a working day, Claudio is fully booked with patients. This is one of his patients this morning, an office worker who seems to have problem moving her wrist.
Hi doctor, I have your patient. You can go in. Yes. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Claudio. Please take a seat.
Working 8 hours a day of doing nothing more than typing, this patient has recently got pain in the wrist and hand.
That hurts? Does it hurt?
A little bit.
Working for a long period in the same or awkward positions puts stress on the hands and wrists, with typing often among the main cause of the carpal tunnel syndrome. And the syndrome is also an everyday problem treated by Dr. Claudio Duek at the clinic. It's now lunchtime. The beauty of Vietnam is that you will never go hungry, no matter what your budget. Here we have from the 5-star restaurant serving world-class cuisine right to the street food, which is $1 a pack. And for our Claudio, due to his tight working schedule, he can only stick to the area where he's working for lunch. But right here in District 1, the lunch menu is good enough. Today, Claudio and his colleague Aaron decide to visit an old friend's restaurant for lunch, which is just a few blocks from where they work. This little courtyard on Hai Ba Cheong Street is very famous among Ho Chi Minh City's foodies as it houses many well-known restaurants. Right at the courtyard entrance lies Blanchie Street, which is listed on National Geographic's traveler column. With its culinary set piece of Japanese South American fusion food, the place has become a popular dining place for expats in Ho Chi Minh City.
And Andres, the owner, is a very good friend of mine. So, in theory, I come here for the food, but actually, I come here to see him. Actually, and we take lunch together.
Claudio and I, we are very good friends. We know each other from probably the first few days of probably my first day, I think, in Saigon. So we're very good friends for the last 10 years. He was actually one of the main persons on helping my family and I on the transition of adapting to a new culture and a new country in Vietnam.
Many foreigners like Andres have chosen to invest in the food industry in Vietnam as a sustainable way of settling down here. Owning such a restaurant whose name is nailed among local foodies is something of a lifetime achievement for an expat who has been living here for 10 years.
Life here has changed substantially since my first arrival. It's a lovely place to be, and it's a great city. I could say that I fell in love with Vietnam when I first came, and here am I 10 years after.
Among the three, Claudio was the first one to move to Ho Chi Minh City. Claudio was featured in an episode of the Argentine television program called Clase Turista, or Tourist Class in English.
Estamos ahora en District 5, la capital neurálgica de Saigon, porque está rodeando el hospital de Chorai, que es el hospital más grande de Saigon, donde yo trabajo una vez por semana como consultante en cirugía a la mano hace más de 3 años ya.
In the role of an expatriate Argentine living in Ho Chi Minh City, Claudio Duek helped introduce the city to the Spanish-speaking community worldwide. After about 2-hour lunch break, Claudio begins his afternoon shift, which is usually more stressful than the mornings. As an orthopedic surgeon specialist, Claudio has to deal with complicated fractures from traffic accidents, work accident, infections, reconstructive burn, and carpal tunnel syndrome.
And in the afternoon, I perform surgeries, always average 1 or 2 cases, average 2 cases a day. Some small cases I can perform here in the clinic. We have a small operation room. These cases I used to do under local anesthesia. And the major cases I perform in the French hospital, which I am surgeon as well. After work, can finish 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, depend of the day, depend of the numbers of emergency.
On average each year, Claudio does 300 hand and orthopedic operations, not to mention 3,200 examination orthopedic cases for outpatients, both locals and foreigners, at this clinic. He has participated in numerous research papers and spoken at many international conferences, most recently in Japan.
I have 2 opinions about medical ethics. One, you can read at the medical school, but the important one is the other. It is the personal one, where your family education, your morals, and sometimes your religion have an influence on you and allows you sleep well at night.
Okay, time to go home. See you day after tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. See you. I'm in the taxi now. I'm going home. Okay.
Leaving District 1, the heart of the city, Claudio is on his way home in District 2, about 8 kilometers away. For more than 10 years, he and his family have been living in a villa in Thảo Điền, which is known as a pleasant neighborhood for expats who have plans of living in Ho Chi Minh City for a long term. Meet his wife, Lisa, a British medical consultant, and his 2 children, 4-year-old Chiara and 9-year-old Matthias. Today, with his busy working schedule, Claudio did not get home early enough to have dinner with his kids, but he did spend time playing with them before bedtime. Playing shopping-less memory card game is a favorite game for the whole family. The family youngest member, Chiara, seems to be very good at this.
Paper tissue.
After showing his father a new song he has just learned on the piano, Matthias and his little sister are sent to bed. Only until then did Claudio and Lisa have dinner together. Mr. and Mrs. Duek came to Vietnam 12 years ago to work for the Ho Chi Minh City-based Franco-Vietnamese AFV hospital.
Over the years, I've worked in many different hospitals, and I work with some NGO. So I get to see all the different aspects of life. And of course, I'm privileged, I have a nice lifestyle, and then to be able to work with just normal people in Vietnam and appreciate, how proud they are and what a wonderful history they have, and a hard history, how they've come through all of the different periods of war and to become a wonderful people. And for me, that's the best, is that I can see.
Prior to Vietnam, both of them have experiences of working abroad and for humanitarian organizations in many regions worldwide. For Claudio, since the year 2000, he has worked as a surgeon in different war situations in Sierra Leone, Sri Lanka, Ethiopia, and Guinea. He is part of a pool of surgeons able to move to war zones to provide care. Every year, Claudio spends 2 months on humanitarian missions.
That's a very good experience. Sometimes I miss to go there, but fortunately, a few years ago we organized a humanitarian mission very close to the border with Laos, and for a week we help 1,000 of patients and send a lot of food and medication, toys, etc. And probably this year, in 2015, we will do another one. So in some way, we still, even in the private practice, we still engage with the local population, and it's quite grateful for us.
Ho Chi Minh City nightlife seems to be the attractions to many expats living in Ho Chi Minh City. And for many, a perfect night out in this city must include music. Wondering how our Dr. Claudio Duek gonna spend this night tonight? Well, let's go and find him.
This beer house in Phu Nhuận district is now packed with people who are enjoying their night out with beer, snacks, and waiting for some live music performances. And there he is, our Dr. Claudio Duek, wondering what he is doing on stage.
I think I gave him a keyboard for his birthday, his 40th birthday. while we were in FV hospital, and that started the music. So from then on, he was a doctor and a musician.
Claudio Duek may be a doctor in the daytime, but at night he is also an artist who leads the band Bad Neighbour. Bad Neighbour, a Latin rock band, has delivered a high-intensity set of punk rock favorites that are guaranteed to entertain.
On my mother's side, it's my mother, grandmother, mother, all this family is coming from, they're really musicians. And I think that the energy is very easy when you love the music and when you have a good crowd in front of you. Vietnam is a place where they love music, they express themselves with a lot of energy, and this energy we catch and we transform in our own energy. So we like to play, especially in this kind of places, it's kind of fun.
Bad Neighbour's music is free spirit, not imprisoned by the limits of jazz, reggae, Latin, and rock, which are their main influences. It is a Latin music, but heavily influenced by reggae and jazz with powerful bass. It is a rock smoothed by the Latin and its percussions. For the past 10 years, Bad Neighbour has seen several members come and go, but for any band member, Claudio is always a good band leader and is responsible for everything, including arranging gigs, rehearsals, and giving ideas for stage performances.
Tôi tham gia ban nhạc với Claudio từ những ngày đầu thành lập được khoảng 10 năm và có nhận xét về Claudio là ông ta là một người rất là thật thà, chân thật, luôn nghĩ tới quyền lợi của mọi thành viên trong ban nhạc.
Với 10 năm chơi với ban nhạc thì mình sẽ cảm thấy rất là happy. Mình luôn luôn là làm rất là nhiều show ở các quán bar, giống như các event lớn của Sài Gòn cũng như đi các tỉnh, và giống như cũng là đi qua Cambodia, qua Thái Lan, qua Macau, đi rất là nhiều nước với ban nhạc này.
Having performed once a week at this beer house, Bad Neighbour have their own way to impress and fuel their audiences.
So, I want one girl.
Thì các nhân viên mời bạn lên sân khấu của mình.
Yes.
Welcome, girls.
I have a new girlfriend.
Hôm nay là sinh nhật của hai người khách ở đây. Ông biết tên gì? Tiên tỷ giới thiệu.
Dạ, em tên là Tiểu My. Tốt nha.
Tiểu My và Tốt Nga, happy birthday, Tiểu My! Everybody get here, sing with us and with them.
Okay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
And that was one whole day from dawn to dusk in Ho Chi Minh City with Claudio Duek, a doctor/artist from Argentina. I hope it helps define the saying of work hard and play hard in Ho Chi Minh City, the biggest city of Vietnam. And as always, it's our segment of Time Out.